One notification lights up on their phone. They smile at the screen. Your stomach drops. But what happens next depends on the case file you open. Aries may ask the question before the phone is back on the table. Aquarius may act completely unbothered while quietly remembering the time, the name, and the exact shape of that smile. Same spark, different evidence. Today you are entering the cosmic case files to investigate why every zodiac sign seems to get jealous differently. This is playful astrology for entertainment. It is not science, therapy, or a diagnosis. Think of it as a storytelling lens that can help you notice patterns in yourself and the people around you. First, open the master case file. Jealousy is rarely just one emotion. It can be fear of losing attention. It can be a threat to security. It can be comparison. It can be the feeling that something important is happening outside your control. That gives us 4 motives to track. The first motive is attention. The question underneath it is simple. Am I still special to you? The second motive is security. The question becomes, is what we built still safe? The third motive is comparison. Now the mind asks, what do they have that I do not? The fourth motive is control. The hidden question is, why am I the last person to know? Every sign can feel all 4. The zodiac stereotype changes the route the feeling takes. Some signs send the emotion straight out through words and action. Some lock it inside a vault. Some investigate. Some absorb the mood before they understand what changed. So let us enter the 4 evidence rooms. Fire signs handle jealousy like an alarm. Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius tend to move before the feeling has time to settle. The room gets louder. The pace gets faster. Something has to happen now. For Aries, jealousy often attacks control. Aries wants a clear answer and a clear next move. Waiting can feel worse than the truth. For Leo, jealousy often attacks attention. Leo wants to feel chosen in a way that is visible and unmistakable. A vague reassurance may not be enough. They want warmth they can actually feel. For Sagittarius, jealousy often attacks freedom. That sounds strange until you see the pattern. They do not want to be trapped in suspicion. If the energy feels heavy, they may joke, pull away, or create distance before anyone can box them into an emotional interrogation. The fire room is not subtle. Its evidence is motion. Earth signs treat jealousy like a stability test. Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn may look calmer from the outside. Inside, they are checking whether the structure still holds. For Taurus, jealousy often attacks security and belonging. If a relationship feels like home, a threat to it can feel physical. Their first response may be to protect the boundary around what matters. For Virgo, jealousy often attacks consistency. Virgo notices the changed tone, the delayed reply, and the detail that does not match yesterday. They may not accuse you. They may simply begin collecting data. For Capricorn, jealousy often attacks reliability. They want to know whether your words still predict your actions. Emotional promises matter less than the pattern you create over time. The Earth room is quiet. Its evidence is a change in routine. Air signs turn jealousy into a research project. Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius often process the feeling through thought, conversation, or distance. They can look composed while their minds run 10 tabs at once. For Gemini, jealousy often attacks access to information. A missing piece of the story becomes irresistible. They may ask playful questions that are much more precise than they sound. For Libra, jealousy often attacks balance and comparison. Libra can keep the atmosphere pleasant while silently measuring who received more attention, more praise, or more effort. For Aquarius, jealousy often attacks emotional control. They dislike feeling predictable or exposed. Instead of showing the reaction, they may cool the room down and observe from a distance. The air room looks calm. Its evidence lives in the questions. Water signs feel jealousy as a shift in emotional weather. Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces often notice the emotional temperature before anyone explains what changed. The feeling can arrive as instinct, tension, or a story that suddenly feels real. For Cancer, jealousy often attacks emotional safety. They may retreat first, hoping you notice the distance and come closer with reassurance. For Scorpio, jealousy often attacks trust and hidden power. They are sensitive to what is not being said. Once the detective mode starts, every silence can become a clue. For Pisces, jealousy often attacks the imagination. One uncertain moment can expand into a complete emotional movie with scenes that never happened. The water room has no clean edges. Its evidence is atmosphere. Now open the 12 individual case files. Case 1 is Aries. Imagine you are at a party. Someone keeps making your partner laugh. Aries notices, decides they hate the uncertainty, and walks toward the situation. The healthiest Aries asks directly without turning the question into a fight. The less secure version turns the conversation into a competition. What Aries usually needs is clarity that arrives quickly. Do not make them decode a riddle when one honest sentence will do. Case 2 is Taurus. Taurus may not interrupt the moment. They may become more physically present instead. A hand moves closer. A familiar ritual becomes suddenly important. They are checking whether the bond still feels solid. The healthiest Taurus names the need for reassurance. The less secure version becomes territorial or stubborn. What helps is consistency. Small, dependable actions calm the case faster than dramatic speeches. Case 3 is Gemini. Gemini begins with a question that sounds casual. Who is that? How do you know them? Was that the person you mentioned last week? The healthiest Gemini uses curiosity to understand. The less secure version gathers fragments and tests different stories. What helps is openness without defensiveness. Give them the missing context, then bring the conversation back to the actual feeling underneath the questions. Case 4 is Cancer. Cancer notices the emotional shift and protects the softest part of themselves. They may get quieter. They may say everything is fine while hoping you prove that it is not being ignored. The healthiest Cancer explains why the moment felt unsafe. The less secure version withdraws and waits for you to guess. What helps is warm reassurance paired with a clear invitation to talk. Case 5 is Leo. Leo sees someone else receiving the glow that used to point toward them. Their response may be to become funnier, brighter, or more magnetic. The healthiest Leo asks for affection without shame. The less secure version performs for the whole room or turns attention into a contest. What helps is specific appreciation. Tell them what you value. Make it personal, not generic. Case 6 is Virgo. Virgo catches the micro details. A phrase sounds different. A timeline moves by 20 minutes. A tiny inconsistency becomes a flashing evidence marker. The healthiest Virgo checks the facts and admits the fear. The less secure version overanalyzes every signal until the theory feels more certain than reality. What helps is precise communication. Answer the real question and correct misunderstandings gently. Case 7 is Libra. Libra may smile through the moment because open conflict feels worse than private discomfort. Later, the comparison begins. Was that person more interesting? More attractive? Easier to be around? The healthiest Libra asks for balance and connection. The less secure version hides resentment behind perfect manners. What helps is making room for an honest answer that will not instantly become an argument. Case 8 is Scorpio. Scorpio rarely reacts only to the visible moment. They search for the hidden layer. Why did that pause feel strange? Why was that detail omitted? The healthiest Scorpio brings the suspicion into the light and listens to the answer. The less secure version keeps investigating after the evidence runs out. What helps is transparency with firm boundaries. Trust grows through truth, not endless surveillance. Case 9 is Sagittarius. Sagittarius may turn the tension into a joke. Then, they may suddenly need air, motion, or a completely different room. The healthiest Sagittarius admits that the joke covered a real feeling. The less secure version disappears before the conversation can become serious. What helps is honesty without confinement. Give them space, but do not let space become permanent avoidance. Case 10 is Capricorn. Capricorn watches what happens next. Do your actions match your explanation? Does the same problem repeat? The healthiest Capricorn talks about the standard they need. The less secure version goes emotionally cold and begins grading the relationship in silence. What helps is a dependable follow-through. A promise means more when it changes the pattern. Case 11 is Aquarius. Aquarius can look like the least jealous person in the room. That can be misleading. They may step back, intellectualize the feeling, and observe every detail from a safe distance. The healthiest Aquarius names the emotion without treating it like a system error. The less secure version acts detached until the connection freezes. What helps is calm honesty that respects their independence without accepting emotional disappearance. Case 12 is Pisces. Pisces feels the scene and everything the scene could mean. One ambiguous message becomes the opening shot of a much larger story. The healthiest Pisces checks the story against reality. The less secure version suffers inside an imagined ending before the real conversation begins. What helps is tenderness plus facts. Reassurance works best when it is kind, concrete, and present. Now return to your own file. When jealousy appears, ask which motive just lit up. Is this about attention? Do you need to feel chosen? Is it about security? Did a familiar pattern suddenly change? Is it comparison? Are you measuring your worth against someone else? Or is it control? Are you reacting to not knowing what happens next? Then notice your route. Do you confront like fire? Do you test the structure like earth? Do you investigate like air? Do you absorb the mood like water? The useful part of the case is not deciding that your sign made you do it. The useful part is catching the reaction early enough to choose what happens next. You can ask a direct question without starting a fight. You can request reassurance without demanding proof forever. You can check a story without turning every detail into evidence. You can take space without using distance as punishment. That is the real mystery. Not whether jealousy appears, but what you do when it does. Which case file sounded most like you? Comment your sign and the reaction you recognized. And if you want more animated investigations into the strange ways people think, feel, and relate, subscribe to me and You Fact. Your next case file is already waiting.